All right, good Thursday morning, everyone. This is Mike Montefusco from the National Weather Service Forecast Office in Wakefield, Virginia. This is our weekly Thursday briefing covering the period from May 1st through May 7th. Let's go ahead and get started with our highlights. Generally, a warm period, an unsettled period for the next week or so, as we get into isolated and scattered showers each day over the next couple of days. That is with a weak front that's going to be in the region over the next couple of days. As we get into the weekend and into early next week, we are looking for the potential for some stronger storms as we get into Saturday afternoon and evening. Damaging winds is going to be the main threat with that, and we'll talk about the timing with that as we go forward with the briefing here. As we get into the outlook for the latter half of the weekend into early next week, we are looking for some unsettled conditions that really start to creep into the forecast on Sunday, and that'll persist through the middle of next week, as you'll see, as we have an upper level low that's going to linger across the region, and that's going to bring a rather unsettled period with widespread rainfall being a good possibility. On the marine side, we have marginal small craft conditions are going to be possible later on Friday on into Saturday ahead of that front. And as the winds turn around onshore early next week, we are looking at the likelihood of some small craft conditions returning and then sticking around with building seas, especially over the coastal waters. Taking a look at the weather pattern over the next few days or in the early next week. And when we last talked on Monday, on our last briefing, this was the general thought of the pattern. This is the 500 millibar pattern, and this is typically what we will use to get a good feel for what the upper pattern looks like. And that, as you can see here, this is 8 o'clock Saturday morning. So this is first thing Saturday morning. And earlier on this week, we thought the upper level flow would be such that we would be able to force that front that you saw in that previous slide on through the region fairly quickly over the weekend, with a very quick drying pattern then ensuing. What has actually evolved over the past couple of days, as you look at the what is the latest forecast thinking, is basically this upper level low kind of hanging back over the Mississippi Valley and over the Ohio Valley. And then as you get into the weekend, you kind of see the time step here on the bottom, kind of breaking off into what we call a closed low, which will then linger through a good portion of next week. And the ramifications of that, basically, as we go back to the pattern, that front that we thought was going to get just scooted through here rather quickly Friday night into Saturday morning and then drying out, that pattern has actually slowed substantially with what you see here. That boundary, because that low is going to kind of hang out to the west and kind of linger, that front is going to kind of hang out and linger back to our west. And that actually winds up having these days through Saturday being very warm across the region. We knew we were going to be warm through the day on Friday, but it looks like that warmth actually lingers into the weekend, with this front kind of slowing down and slowing the brakes on and just kind of hanging out to the west. So once we do get that front eventually through here and into here, it looks like as we get into Saturday afternoon and evening, there is a better chance of some stronger storms moving through here. But really just the next couple of days, just kind of unsettled, isolated to widely scattered showers each day. I think most folks will remain dry, but there will be a lucky few that do get into the heavier showers next couple of days, and we could certainly use them. But at this point, right now, as the forecast is evolving, we're looking at that front actually getting finally pushed through here as you get into Saturday night and Sunday. Sunday being the wettest day, and then that more unsettled pattern then lingers as you get into the first half of next week. With respect to the thunderstorm potential, once again, little to no risk of severe storms. Next couple of days, certainly you might have a pop-up shower or thunderstorm with that front in the area, kind of lifting north today and remaining north of the area tomorrow. So there might be a couple of rogue thunderstorms that are moving around, but really no real risk of severe storms next couple of days. More a risk of, some brief locally heavy rainfall being the main issue. As you get into Saturday, we hope to get that front into the region as you get into the day on Saturday and Saturday night. There is a marginal risk from the Storm Prediction Center for some severe winds on Saturday. But again, that main threat, we're going to kind of move into more of a heavier rain threat as you get into the latter portion of the weekend, early next week. Looking at the rain totals next 72 hours, again, these totals are on the lower side. This is through Sunday morning, so bear that in mind. This is through Sunday morning. Most of this activity is to the west, as you can imagine, with that front kind of very slowly approaching the region over the next few days. The rain chances then really crank up as you get into later Sunday night, and then beyond this into the day on Monday. With that upper low kind of lingering off to the northwest and that front kind of moving into the region, then likely weakening as it moves into the region. The accumulated precip forecast you see through Saturday on the left, the early portion of next week on the right. And again, the timing is going to be just isolated late day showers and storms, perhaps widely scattered, increased aerial coverage as you get into Saturday. But really, most of that going to be across the Piedmont, and then certainly off to the northwest as well. Whereas you get into next week, certainly we get into more of a pattern of moisture kind of lifting up into the region Sunday into early next week. So more widespread showers and storms Sunday and Monday. With that unsettled, kind of uncertain period, then for the middle of next week, I should say, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, remaining unsettled, but a little bit less certain, certainly, because we're looking for that front to kind of wash out or diminish or dissolve as it moves into the area. And for the most part, most of the heavier showers look like they move or linger up across the northeast. Putting it all together, this is the total precip over the next 7 days. And again, you can see we do eventually get into this wet pattern, but it is taking a while. We're waiting for this pattern to evolve where we actually do get this rain to move into the region. We thought we would be drying out. It does look like now that trends are definitely favoring a wetter end to the weekend. So Saturday night, certainly Sunday, Monday, with respect to that wet pattern really taking hold. Again, the rainfall totals on average, 1.5 to 3 inches, locally higher totals into early next week with heavier storms that move in, heavier showers and storms that move in. But you can see through that Tuesday time frame, we do have just periodic chances for rain each day. Starting Saturday night with the better chances, but the higher chances than Sunday into Monday, and then continuing into Tuesday. So more of an unsettled period late in the weekend into early next week. Again, off the next 7 days, again, the best timing for the heaviest rainfall, for the most part, starts Saturday afternoon and evening, but really ramps up into the day on Sunday, and then continuing into early next week for most of our climate sites. You see each site here at the top, but for the most part, you'll see the common thread here is Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. We have a little bit of a ramp up in rain chances area wide, which lingers into the day on Sunday. And then that returns with more showers and storms Monday and Tuesday of next week before we start to dry out for the latter portion of next week. Here's your regional forecast summary. And again, we're waiting for that front to come on through. And until that does, we are going to remain unseasonably warm. So today, tomorrow, into Saturday, we are looking for a very warm period those next couple of days. That front does look like it does come through later in the day of Saturday on into Sunday with more cool, cloudy, unsettled conditions Sunday into early next week. With respect to those rain chances ramping up for that period into early next week. Taking a look to the late next week period and beyond. Again, this is for the May 6th through 10th period. So late next week, generally going to be back above normal through that period with rain chances once we get out of that early week unsettled pattern, we get to a more dry, warm pattern returning. So we kind of dry out once again for the latter half of next week. So that is what you see here with near to below normal precipitation chances favored for late next week. And you see the normals here on the right. Taking a look at the daily marine threat over the next 5 days. For the next couple, you can certainly see we do have a pretty good southerly surge next couple of days that'll allow for some increased chances for some hazardous marine conditions over the bay. Once we get into Friday night, and then especially Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that onshore flow starts to develop once that front moves through here Saturday night, Sunday, and then that onshore flow kind of builds our seas. So you can see our seas building Sunday into Monday, where we have more hazardous boating conditions develop, certainly across the coastal waters, but eventually into the bay as well, with that onshore flow kind of getting rolling and making for a more choppy, unsettled period on the waters. Taking a look at that marine wind potential, our winds generally remaining southerly as you get into Saturday, remaining a bit gusty out ahead of that front that moves through on Saturday. And then gradually you'll start to notice our winds start to back to the southwest and eventually start to move back into early next week. But the big takeaway here is you're looking for small craft conditions being possible as you get into tomorrow afternoon, evening, on into Saturday, ahead of that front that's approaching from the west. Here's that marine wind summary. And again, you can see our winds generally turn back towards the onshore direction as you get into later Sunday into Monday. So that onshore flow starts to really ramp up the building seas, and our winds start to increase, especially along the coast, and become gusty. And taking a look at the sea state, again, ahead of the front, this will mainly be wind wave out ahead of the front. And then once you get into later Monday, you're starting to look at that swell starting to build back with our onshore flow building through certainly early on Monday, but perhaps as early as later on Sunday night as well. Take home here is definitely looking for winds to decrease a bit on Sunday, but increase and become more onshore early next week. That is our briefing for this Thursday morning. If you have any questions, we'll be here to answer them. Until we talk again on Monday, have a great weekend, and we will speak again next week. Thanks, everyone.